Well, hi folks, welcome once again to Pete's Kitchen Garden. It's Wednesday the 29th of July, about 20 past 7 in the evening, and it seems like ages since I did my last update. I've not been able to film. It's got to be a few weeks. We're in the shed. I don't think you've been in here before. There is a reason why we're in here, because there's not a great deal in here. Looks like most sheds, it's a bit of a mess. I don't keep anything valuable in here, just pots and bits and bobs. But this is the reason we're here. I just wanted to start off by showing you these. You remember the overwintering garlic that I had outside in the bed? So the last video, I think I mentioned I was thinking about taking these up because they look to be a decent size, and I had some advice off one of my subscribers. I think it was Brian Hubbery, who said, no Pete, don't be in too much of a rush, just give them a little bit longer. So I did, gave them a few more weeks, but then I noticed that the leaves were starting to get a bit of rust on them. So I thought, right, we'll have them up. And I tell you what, look at these. I mean, not a bad size at all, and the best thing is they have actually split into clothes as well, so I'm well pleased with that. And I can't tell you, that's the shed door blowing open, I can't tell you how nice it smells in here as well. So overwintering garlic, with the wet winter that we had, I wasn't sure, and the wet weather we've had recently, which I'll tell you a bit more about in a bit, wasn't sure how these would do. But yeah, I'm really pleased with them, so we'll definitely be doing those again. Right, let's pop outside. So straight away, the first thing you'll notice of the decking is that there are a lot less pots on there. So basically what happened is, I think that I did the last video, and then literally about half an hour or so afterwards, it started absolutely chucking it down. And carried on doing that for about 2 weeks, but it was the really heavy rainfall. In fact, I had puddles forming on the lawn, which I've never had here before. We have good drainage here and we aren't prone to flooding. And what happened, and you can still see it with these main crops, so it's pushed all the foliage over, but it was actually worse on my first and second earlies, and actually it snapped at most of the foliage, to be honest. I left them for a bit, but then it became obvious that the foliage was dying back, so I thought, right, you know what, I'm just going to get them out. I didn't want them all at once, but I decided to take them out, because I figured, look, if the tops are rotting, if the tops are dying, then the potatoes aren't growing, and I was worried that they might rot. So I took them out, and now we've got about 4 carrier bags full of first and second earlies in the house. Then I spoke to my mate at work today, and he said, "Now just chop the tops off and leave them in pots." He says, I did that, and 6 months later they were still fine. So wish I'd have done that. If it happens again, that's what I'm going to do. The other thing that I'm going to do that it's taught me as well is next year I'm not going to put the pots of potatoes here on the decking. I'm going to put them further down the garden, but I'm going to have some kind of canes or support around them, and have some chicken wire or mesh or something just to sort of keep the foliage up in case the same thing happens again. I have seen people do that on YouTube videos, so I think that's what I'll do next year. But hey ho, you live and learn. These carrots are really coming along quite nicely now. Let's see if I can get around this side. It's a little bit dark, to be honest. I normally film a little bit earlier than this, but it looks like they're getting decent carrots on them. And touch wood, I've never had problems with carrot fly. I am growing these up on the decking and a bit of away from the grass. They're not 3 foot off the ground like people say they're supposed to be, but they seem to be doing okay there. Herb pot roaring along. It's nice to have a bit more room on decking, actually. My bedding plants, my border. Now the rains obviously really benefited these, and they're absolutely flying along now, looking beautiful. And I've actually noticed as well, my other border where I have shrubs, that's the word I was looking for, and summer bulbs. And we have a flower. Isn't that lovely? But the rest of them haven't started flowering yet. I suspect, basically I was saying about it rained for about 2 weeks. It did, and then we've had bits of sun and rain in between. So some things have suffered. A couple of my onions went to seed. Now, last year I had a couple go to seed, and I took them out because I'd heard that, you know, once they've gone to seed, that's it, they're no good. But my good friend next door, Roy, who's been gardening for, well, forever, he's, you know, well into his 70s, said, nah, don't chuck them, just nip the heads out. That's what he does with his. We've had onions off him before, they've been fine, so I've just nipped the heads off. I don't know what other people's thoughts are on that. I don't know, but you know, he's the voice of experience, so I decided to take his advice. And what's the worst that can happen? I get a couple of bad onions, I chuck them away, you know, so I'm going to leave them in. These leeks are starting to put on a decent bit of growth, again slightly hampered by the rain. You see these 2 rows here, and again back to the rain. These lettuce, I put these in, they were probably about half the size they are now. Then about a week after that, I put some seeds in, which is these ones here. So you can see, actually, the rain has really slowed down the growing of these. I mean, they're starting to get going again now we've got a bit of sun. But yeah, it kind of messed up my succession a little bit. But what we'll do, and what we already have done, is we took one of the thin ends and we use those first, and then we let the other ones grow on. My swede and my beetroot, I'm guessing this is sun scorch. I had the same thing last year. My swedes were fine last year, so were my beetroot. So I don't think we're going to have a massive problem there. They just don't look very pretty. Just a quick note on the beetroot. Remember, I grow Baltardy as I always do, and I'm also growing the Quattro Gourmet, like a coloured variety this year. I don't think I'm going to bother with them again. They just don't seem to grow as well. So I think I'll stick to Baltardy in future. There are some good success stories. Now you're not going to be able to see this, but trust me, we're looking at a broccoli calabrese plant here, and that is starting to form a head. And I don't know how well you can see this. I hope this is coming through okay. Red ball kale there, if you can see it. Cauliflower, and these black magic kale. And if you just look, and you will be able to see this, cauliflower there starting to form a head. Well pleased with the brassicas. As I say, I'm getting a lot of glare, but hopefully you can see that. And we'll just move on over here. Strawberries, which are starting to produce fruits almost daily now. Really, they're doing okay then, but again, a bit more sun would be nice. Apologies for the wind, guys. It's picked up a little bit, and I don't have anything to sort of filter it. These peas are going absolutely mad. In fact, to be honest, you see they're starting to pull the canes over. They are starting to form pods, these, and you can see there are flowers there. I picked 3 or 4 yesterday. I'm not, look, you can see there, if I'm moving a little bit, a little one there, but there's quite a few, and there were a few that were ready yesterday, so we picked them. But I think that the problem here is that I've did them in gutter in, so there's essentially 2 rows of them either side of this cane sort of framework thing that I've built up. The ones on the inside have followed the net, the ones on the outside are just freaking out all over the place, and I've tried to tie around these to make them look a bit more tidy, but they're just sort of going mad. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with the plant itself, it's really healthy and it's producing, it just looks a bit untidy. Might do that a bit different next year. My spring onions, some of these were massive. I mean, I've actually took a few out because I've took the biggest ones out, obviously, as you can see. Oh, can I just... right, here we go. If I can just move these out of the way. Look at them. Decent size. You know, them ones there as well. So, yeah, looking good on the spring onions. Put some lettuce in here and they got absolutely decimated by the slugs. I hadn't put pellets in here because I had not had problems with slugs so far. I'd only had problems with them over in the the large beds. So I put a load of slug pellets down, and the next day we counted 32 dead slugs in here. So I'm going to keep with the slug pellets until the weather dries up a little bit. The 2 random beetroot there are the ones, I don't know if you can remember, my little boy Liam was growing some in a pot. Well, I finally managed to persuade him to actually plant them out now. We'll see what they do, you know. everything's a bit rough around the edges at the minute, because to be honest, the weather recently has been, as I say, it's been very changeable, and it always seems to have been nice when I've been at work. Into the polytunnel, tomatoes. I mean, these are a real success story this year. You know, I'm not going to try and get every tomato in, and I'll try and take my finger away from the viewfinder. Great professional filming. Then the tropical ruby tomato, so you can see getting some decent ones there. So yeah, tomatoes really good this year. Cucumbers, let me just pan out again. Massive plant. We've already had a couple of these cucumbers off here. You know, we've picked the two biggest ones, but if I can just sort of get in here, crikey, I've got foliage in the way. I really want to show you. This is not going to work because I can't even see where me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so these are snack bite. So they don't get much bigger than this, or you know, you pick them when they're quite small. But if you can't really show you. I'll show you this bit. There's loads of small ones on here. You see another decent sized one just there. Yeah, so you see all those little ones there. So we've basically started harvesting these now. Every time we do a salad, we'll pick the big ones that are ready. But I'm not going to go through everyone, because I'll probably make you feel dizzy and sick by trying to pan in and out. But they're doing really well, and they have got loads of cucumbers on them. The peppers, they're finally in the polytunnel border, and since I've put them in here, they have been doing absolutely fantastic. You see peppers on them. These are red peppers, which obviously they start off green. There are other peppers, but again, I'm not going to try and zoom in and show you all of them, but trust me, they are all getting some decent peppers on now. And what I've found is it's a lot better doing them in the border like this. Peppers hate being overwatered, so what I do is I water them. As long as the surface of the soil looks moist, I don't water them at all. I don't water them until the top of the soil is dry and I have a little root underneath, and if that's dry, I water them, and again I just leave them. So yeah, they're the ones I bought from B&Q, doing really well. And these were the ones that were given to me by a friend at work. Now, you see that they've got flowers on them. They seem to be growing okay, but something is eating the leaves. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what's doing this. Same thing happened last year. So if anybody's got any ideas on what that might be, please do let me know in the comment section. I'm only in my third year of growing, so you know, I have never pretended to be an expert. I'm not. I'm still learning, picking up bits as I go along. So if anybody can educate me, please feel free. And then just quickly, the guttering, salad leaves. I've put 3 lettuce growing in there, and then we've got some radish. And that's about it, folks. So as I say, you know, it's the garden hasn't got away from me, but I haven't been able to spend quite as much time over here, out here the last couple of weeks. But everything still seems to be doing okay. Hope you're all having a good growing year so far. I've been plagued by slugs and blooming insects and things like that, and that the cats are still a constant problem. But you know, that's part of the fun of gardening. Let's go back into shed a minute. That's part of the fun of gardening. You know, sowing the seeds and watering them and everything's easy, but keeping all the pests and bugs and everything that wants to eat them is somewhat difficult. Now, talking about the cats, I just want to mention something. A couple of videos ago, I was talking about some oriental lilies that I'd purchased. And I was saying that apparently they're poisonous to cats, and sort of saying that was the reason why I bought them. Now, somebody pulled me up on it, and rightly so. Basically, I sort of didn't explain it very well. I was just sort of being tongue-in-cheek, joking, really. You know, I've no desire to actually poison people's cats, and apparently it would take a large amount anyway. You know that. So yeah, I just want to make that clear. Thanks to the subscriber who pointed it out. You know, it's a fair call. You know, I know people have family pets, and you know, I like to think of myself as a, you know, a decent guy. You know, I wouldn't want to cause any harm to anyone's cats. I do find it incredibly frustrating. I sometimes find the attitude of cat owners not always so great or understanding. But as I say, I would never want to harm anyone's cat, so just wanted to make that perfectly clear. That's about it for now, guys. I'm hoping to spend a bit of time in the garden over the coming days, so hopefully the next time I do one of these, things will be looking a little tidier and smarter. But I'm pretty happy with where we are. It'd be nice if the rain would go away, but, you know, what can you do? You got to roll with the punches. So anyway, as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please feel free to put any comments in the comments section. Thank you to any new subscribers. And until I see you next time, take care, my friends. Bye for now.